Cloistered Carmel, Chicalim, Goa. A memorable journey of 75 years. The Carmelite order traces its origin to the hermits who lived on Mount Carmel in Palestine. This is a place closely associated with Prophet Elijah, whom they took as the model of their contemplative life. In around 1209, Albert, the Latin Patriarch of Jerusalem, provided them with the formula of life. Because of invitations from the rulers of England and France, and also due to Islamic invasions, they had to flee to Europe and thus spread to the West.
A common oratory was prescribed by the Albertine rule. It was dedicated to the Blessed Virgin Mary. The hermits were called as Brothers of Our Lady of Mount Carmel. Our Lady thus became the patroness and Queen of Carmel, and all Carmelites strive to imitate her virtues, especially her pondering day and night on the law of the Lord.
Blessed John Soreth, Prior General of the Order, founded the Cloistered nuns in 1451, and in the following year established the Third Order of Carmelites, an association of lay people who, while retaining their lay status, could affiliate themselves to the Carmelite order. Today, it is known as the secular Carmel.
Saints Teresa of Avila and John of the Cross from Spain began the reform of the Carmelites in the 16th century, and eventually there emerged a new religious family known as the Discalced Carmelites. This Reformation tried to restore the earlier spirit of the founding fathers, who sought the precious pearl of contemplation. Saint Teresa of Avila gave a decidedly missionary thrust to the charism, even to the cloistered sisters. One of her spiritual daughters, namely Saint Therese of the Child Jesus, was proclaimed co-patroness of the missions in 1925 alongside Saint Francis Xavier.
The Carmelite order has 3 branches, all living the same charism: friars, nuns, and secular Carmelites. Each of them have their own proper constitutions. While the friars engage in active spiritual ministry and the secular Carmelites live the spirit of the order in their particular state of life, the nuns live in an enclosure and dedicate their entire life to prayer.
The first foundation of the Carmelites in India was at Old Goa. The friars lived in this monastery from 1620 to 1709. The proto-martyrs of the Discalced Carmelite order, Father Dionysius of the Nativity, a French sailor and a cartographer, and Brother Redemptus of the Cross, a Portuguese soldier, were novices here and went to their martyrdom in Sumatra in Indonesia in 1638.
The first cloistered Carmel in India was in Pondicherry, tracing its origin to the year 1859. The second was founded at Mangalore in 1870, with the first batch of nuns who came from Pau, France. Sister Mary of Jesus crucified, an Arab, was among them, and was part of the community till 1872. She was canonized in 2015.
Don Teutonio de Castro, the then Patriarch of Goa, happened to visit the Cloistered Carmel at Bangalore, which was founded in 1932, and expressed his wish to have a similar Carmel in his archdiocese. Father A. Le Tellier, an old but dynamic Belgian Jesuit, also visited this Carmel and shared the same desire. He realized that some Goan recruits would be needed to make this dream a reality. Once he returned to Goa, he did a lot of vocation promotion, and through his efforts, by the year 1947, there were 5 Goan novices in the Bangalore Carmel.
The first 2 trips by the nuns to find a suitable place in Goa were unsuccessful, though full of adventure. Before returning to Bangalore, they prayed during Mass at the tomb of Saint Francis Xavier in Old Goa. Mr. J.B. Mascarenhas from Vadem, Vasco, who was requested to continue the search, proposed a house in Chicalim belonging to Mr. Joachim Alvarez and Mrs. Escolastica. The house was closed and for sale.
Mother Elizabeth of the Holy Trinity, a French nun who was prioress of the Bangalore Carmel, was sent to Goa in view of a new foundation at the formal request of the new Patriarch of Goa, Don José da Costa Nunes. She was a woman with indomitable courage and trust in God. Undaunted by the hardships and stark misery she encountered, she gave loving support to her fellow workers, saying, "Courage, my children."
On 9th of February 1947, the first community of 6 nuns entered their new home at Chicalim, singing the Laudate and Gloria Patri in thanksgiving to God. The first simple lunch for the sisters was cooked by eager and helpful neighbors.
A temporary chapel was made ready by March 1947, and Father Hyacinth OCD from the Carmelite Monastery Margao offered Mass for the first time on March 25th and installed the Blessed Sacrament. On 1st June, Feast of the Most Holy Trinity, the temporary enclosure having been fixed, the parish priest, Father Joachim Alvarez, blessed the house in the presence of few villagers. For this reason, this Carmel is dedicated to the Most Blessed Trinity.
The permanent enclosure wall being fully constructed on 18 December 1948. The Patriarch, Don José Costa Nunes, in the presence of Carmelite friars, Jesuit priests, the parish priest and parishioners defined the enclosure. The sisters continued to experience the timely providence of God through many benefactors from Goa and even from abroad, to complete all construction work over the years. The permanent chapel was fully complete only in 1965 and dedicated to the Immaculate Heart of Mary.
The cloistered nuns desire to imitate the prayer life of Jesus. The definition given by Saint Teresa of Avila, a great teacher of prayer, is well known. Prayer is nothing else but an intimate sharing between friends. It means taking time frequently to be alone with Him, who we know loves us. The daily Eucharist is the central act of the day. This praise and thanksgiving is prolonged throughout the day, when the community comes together to pray the 7 hours of the divine office. The nuns spend 2 hours in mental prayer, and there are times for personal spiritual reading.
Besides seeking union with God in prayer, the nuns also foster a life of fraternity through daily recreations and other community celebrations. Exhorting her daughters, Saint Teresa wrote, "Here all the sisters must be friends. All must love one another. All must be cherished and all must help one another."
The daily schedule includes community service like gardening, kitchen, and works for their livelihood like baking of altar bread, embroidery, vestments, etc.
11 sisters have been laid to rest in the private cemetery of the Carmel. Many others who have lived here opted or were sent to help other cloistered Carmels. For instance, Faro in Portugal, Mumbai, Baroda, Hassan, Raipur, Mysore, Delhi, and Bunda in Tanzania. Some of them too have returned to the Father's house.
At present, there are 15 sisters in the community, and they continue the great legacy of the saintly Carmelites who have gone ahead of them. The nuns are praying that the Holy Spirit may enkindle in many young hearts the flame of a love that is deep and strong, selfless and undying. And here is a poem composed for the occasion by a senior Goan Carmelite friar, Father Paul de Souza. Silent like Carmel's queen, you have wished to be, hidden in the shadows of obscurity, living for the Trinity to the world unknown, since the Lord has willed that you should be His own. For the worldly minded, you are a mystery, doing nothing useful for society. You, however, know well, people need your prayers through links invisible, that you share their cares. With joy they celebrate the good they can see from your years among them 5 and 70. Many saints from Carmel, from earth have passed away. May they all assemble, thanking God today.